Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily Podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
About to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Yes, this is the Rob Carson Show. It's already Thursday, T-minus 1 day until Friday. What a show we have lined up for you today. Brianna Lyman's going to join us on the show. She's always good. The Liberty-Loving Latino, Chris Salcedo from Newsmax, going to be joining us very shortly on the radio program. He's got a new book out, by the way, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun to have him on. Welcome to the show. Please come inside. We have much to get to because this is the only show, the only conservative talk radio and podcast and live stream show that features comedy as one of its hallmarks, because that's what I did with the Rush Limbaugh program. And it's not always funny. Trust me, there's plenty of stuff that's just not funny out there. Right? There are days that, sometimes we make a point with humor. Sometimes we don't make a point with humor because sometimes things are too seriously to be taken other than seriously. How about that? How's that sound? So I hope you enjoy the show. And like I said, strap in, hang on. This is kind of cool. I remember when listening to Rush Limbaugh, that was a late stage Rush baby. I became a Rush baby at age 23, right when I started writing for him. And so, according to Democrats, I could still be aborted. So there is that. I could have been aborted. They probably wish I was. But anyway, but Rush, he used to talk about Ronald Reagan, and you don't blaspheme Ronald Reagan, and certainly I would not do that. And he would call him. What did Rush call Ronald Reagan? Do you remember? Ronaldus Magnus, right? Ronaldus Magnus, and I noticed, you're almost kind of reticent to say it, because Ronald Reagan was a very good president, don't get me wrong, but when you look at kind of, I don't know what Donald Trump has been through, including the 91 indictments, the trying to take him off the ballot, the 98% negative press coverage, the 2 impeachments, the attempt to take him off the ballot, like I said, and then to try to murder him twice, Ronald Reagan got shot, just like Donald Trump got shot. Obviously, Ronald Reagan, it was very touch and go on that. And he could have easily died from that, but he survived. He came back, and he became an amazing, amazing president. But now you look at Donald Trump, despite it all, despite absolutely everything being thrown at him, a petulant, childish, and awful Democrat Party who refuses to admit anything good and does everything they can to get in his way. Despite all of that, he's going to be one of the best presidents the country has ever seen. And last night, Newt Gingrich broached this topic.
Oh, and look, I love Ronald Reagan. I campaigned with him. I served in Congress 8 years while he was president. He defeated the Soviet Empire. He is certainly, I think, the second greatest president in the modern era after Trump. But you look at the scale of change that Trump is pulling off, both at home and abroad. And it's without parallel. And Reagan was a great, great man. And he did things that really profoundly reshaped America.
Yes.
Everything we did when I was speaker was standing on Reagan's shoulders and implementing Reagan's ideas. But in terms of sheer decisive energy and forcing things to change, I've never seen anything like Trump. And as I said, other than Washington and Lincoln, I can't imagine anybody else who has had the extraordinary effectiveness that Trump has had. And remember, we're still in the first year of his second term.
Yeah. And guess what? The Democrats are caterwauling. They are in a death spiral into hell. And we've got 3 years to go. And there's a real good chance The Democrats are not going to take the midterms. They think they're going to take back Congress in midterms. They're offering no reason to take back the midterms at all, because they haven't learned anything, and they're awful, and they're on the wrong side of everything. And there are literally this new group of issues. They're called 80-20 issues. Remember when I said before the election, I said 80% of us believe the country's headed in the wrong direction. 80% of us can come together to save her. Remember that? Well, now there are 80-20 issues, and Democrats are siding with the 20. Like this woman running for governor in Virginia, Abigail Spamberger. She still thinks that boys should be able to, dress up like girls and compete with girls in girls' sports and go into girls' locker rooms. The most, sensitive place and vulnerable place a young woman could be. She's got 3 daughters, and she's fine with boys going into girls' locker rooms. I wonder how she'd feel if it were her kids. But it doesn't matter because she's insane. She's a Karen. And Karen is going to fade in the distance. Karen's going to go back to being the head of the HOA. Yeah, that's what she's going to do. Karen is going to go back and be a busybody in her own neighborhood, but she's not going to command the direction of culture and the Democrat Party, provided the Democrat Party can pull its head out of its rear end. And I'm not holding my breath on that. Not holding my breath on that at all. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Did you hear what happened yesterday on Capitol Hill? Did you see? Nancy Pelosi, she got all sorts of upset. She was approached by a female reporter, and she hasn't had to answer about January the 6th because she told the National Guard, we don't need you. And it was almost kind of like maybe January the 6th was a setup or something. The Capitol Hill police chief, Stephen Sun, at the time, has just talked about how this, what happened. And Sun just wrote to Nancy Pelosi, let me refresh your memory. It was your sergeant at arms who repeatedly denied by multiple requests for National Guard assistance before and on January the 6th. Even on January the 6th, your sergeant at arms denied my urgent request for over 70 minutes while he was running it up the chain for your approval. The Pentagon offered National Guard assistance, but I had to decline because your sergeant at arms would not grant me the legal authority. Yeah. That's what he said. So Nancy Pelosi's getting a little. She's feeling a little heat, by the way. She hasn't felt heat in a while. I mean, her feet are probably cold as ice. But anyway, here she is yesterday on Capitol Hill.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day? Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Listen.
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
Wow, that is amazing. It's like she threw water on her or something. It's
You cursed brat! Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world! Who would have thought a good little girl like you could destroy my beautiful wickedness? Oh,
Are the flying monkeys, are they furloughed right now during the government shutdown?
I'm going!
Wow. I got to tell you, I wonder if the flying monkeys are going to get paid because, they got their bills to pay. I mean, honestly, I know they don't have a mortgage or anything. They stay in the castle, but they got bills to pay. They got little monkeys to raise, little blue monkeys to raise. So, and Kash Patel, he's the FBI director now. And see, he's come in here and he's exposed all this, and it's just coming, by the way. It's just coming. There are a lot of people who are going to be in a lot of trouble for all of the abuses and usurpations and use of the weaponizing all of the departments of the government against Donald Trump and us. Oh, there's going to be hell to pay. Oh my God, there's going to be hell to pay. Here's Kash Patel. He says a lot of indictments are coming.
Beyond those who are already charged, do you think you've seen other crimes that might eventually get referred to justice?
Yes, we are looking at so many different leads on criminal activity by those who are in positions of power. And we're not going to stop until every single one of those is fully exposed. The documents are provided either to Congress or the courts of law and make every referral we can into the Department of Justice.
It's going to be cool.
These indictments that you've seen.
Some of that stuff's past the statute of limitations. And by the way, for AOC, that's not a statue. It's a statute of limitations. So I just want you to know that. And if you Democrats out there, you can't tear it down because it's not a statute of limitations. It's a statute of limitations. But the thing is, what can still be tried is criminal conspiracy. And it looks like there was a whole lot of that going on.
Ones that you're going to see coming up here in this near future are just the beginning. But I have to remind the audience one thing. Everybody's like, it's 7 months. What have you guys been doing?
Yeah.
Well, they spent 20 years building this disease temple of corruption.
Yeah,
it takes a little bit of time to defeat it and beat it down. And I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to look at the work the men and women of the FBI have done so far in these 7-8 months and just imagine what we're going to do come the year end.
And remember, it's America's first colonoscopy after 250 years. And they're finding all sorts of things that need to be removed, including members of the FBI and the DHS and the DOJ and the CIA and all of that, because they're super corrupt. And I certainly hope a lot of them end up going to jail. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Coming up, I don't know if you knew this, but nationwide, the entire country, since Donald Trump became the president, violent crime has dropped 20%. Do you know why? Because Donald Trump is allowing law enforcement to do what they're supposed to do, and that is to prevent crime. The Democrat Party has tried to tell you that the police aren't there to prevent crime, only to arrest people after it's been committed. I know, you're insane. You're insane. This is why you're not going to win the midterms. My God, are you high? You could give everybody $10,000. They still wouldn't vote for you in the midterms. You're so terrible. But they try to convince you that the police don't prevent crime. They only pick up the pieces afterwards. So there's no way to prevent crime, right? Well, violent crime is down 20% nationally, even more right here in Washington, D.C., where I live. Kash Patel runs it down coming up next, and this is The Rob Carson Show.
How do you solve a problem like Antifa? A terrorist group, that is what they are. I'm gonna solve this problem called Antifa. They have gone too far. The Democrats, they support Antifa. Their reign of terror they try to deny. Claim that Soros doesn't fund Antifa, but that's a big fat lie. We are coming after you, Antifa, in towns like Portland where you terrorize. National Guard will help to fight Antifa. They'll cut it down to size. How do you solve a problem like Antifa? They are a hate group in most people's eyes. Mamdani, a socialist. Mamdani, a communist. He's a fan of Hamas. His win will be New York's loss. He's an extremist, you bet, as New York's gonna get taxed like never before. When Mamdani is done, the city will run every grocery store. He'll defund the police and crime will increase as the murder rate begins to soar. Mamdani, Jew. He despises Netanyahu. It is really a sin. New Yorkers voted him in. They'll regret that they helped him win.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
So coming up at the bottom of the hour, we've got a guy, Adam Gillette's going to join us. He does accuracy in media, and apparently a lot of these Democrats don't like the fact that they're not supposed to be teaching DEI and CRT and all of that nonsense, and they're doing it anyway. And Adam has done a little bit of expose, gets them on camera, gets them kind of freaking out and everything, and uncovers their malfeasance. So we're going to talk to him at the bottom of the hour about that, among other things. And then, of course, yesterday on Capitol Hill, Kash Patel, the new FBI director, arrived on Capitol Hill. And the Democrat Party, obviously, no matter what happens that is good, they either will not give Donald Trump credit or they relent, like, for instance, making America safe and bringing down violent crime. I live in Washington, D.C. now. I've lived here for about 3 months. 2 weeks in, he brought in the National Guard because I don't know if you knew this, but D.C. is a crime-ridden hellhole, and it has been. It's a walking punchline. Their basketball team used to be called the Bullets, and they recognized the irony of that, so they changed the name of the basketball team. That's what they did. That's what they did because it was such a violent hellhole. And Donald Trump said, you know what, this is America's capital. And now the dang thing is spotless. It's amazing. This is Benny Johnson was at Union Station. I went to Union Station a couple weeks ago, and I went up I took the train for the first time up to Philadelphia. And I noticed when I got back, Union Station is Disneyland, Disney World, spotless. It's remarkable. And here's Benny Johnson.
Taking my first train in a very long time from Washington, D.C., just walked through Union Station. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The first time in years Union Station hasn't smelled like piss and booze. And there weren't like pigeons pooping on everything. And homeless people using drugs and bathing in the fountains. It's been incredible.
Yeah. And you know why things got fixed? Because somebody did something. Instead of like Joe Biden, who was on vacation 40% of the time until Kamala Harris became the candidate without a single vote. And then he was on vacation 60% of the time. And the Democrat Party does nothing but loot the Treasury. They do nothing. Name one thing that has been fixed in the last 50 years in Washington, D.C. Go ahead. One thing. Anything. Let's see. The VA? No. Healthcare? No. Infrastructure? Nope. Social Security? No. Still bankrupt. What the hell do you do? We have somebody in office right now who is doing something. Making America great again. And yes, it is the greatest country in the history of the world. The Democrats say it was never great. Even though London, Paris existed for over 1,000 years, and when our country was founded, they were still using the streets as a latrine. All right, there you go. And then we came along. Here we go. We've even played golf on the moon, and we did that 50 years ago. Oh, my God. Yeah, we're great. And finally, we got a president in America who's actually wants to see America live its potential, and it's working beautifully. Here's the FBI director, Kash Patel, talking about violent crime has plummeted since Donald Trump took office. Why? He's letting the police do what they do. He's sending FBI. You didn't know this. Even old J.B. Pritzker, he didn't even know. The FBI's been working with local authorities in cities around the country and bringing the crime rate down. Maybe that's why the crime rate's down instead of Democrats taking credit for it. Yeah, maybe it's because of this. Well, of course it is.
A 3-month span. You had 8,700 arrests of violent criminals. Wow. You had 2,200 firearms seized off the streets permanently to safeguard our communities. You had 421 kilograms of fentanyl seized. Just to put that in perspective, that's enough to kill 55 million Americans alone. Wow. You had 45,000 kilograms of cocaine seized. And thanks to our Department of Justice partners, you had 2,100.
Well, why didn't Joe Biden do that? Oh, because he was on vacation and he also has pudding for brains.
Indictments in 3 months, from June to September alone. Mr. President, that in and of itself would be historic for a 4-year president.
You know, and generally, if you add another party that was just the opposition party without being the petulant, evil Marxist children that the Democrat Party is, you'd have Democrats saying, hey, that's pretty cool. That's awesome because people are going to live and they're going to be able to experience freedom and everything. It's going to be awesome. But instead, you'll probably have Democrats saying, well, what are murderers going to do? What are murderers going to do if they can't murder? I mean, come on, you're putting a whole bunch of people out of their line of work, which is murdering.
You did that in 7 months because you let good cops be cops and you partnered us with the right people, the Department of Justice.
Well, what did Democrats do? They defunded the police. They didn't say anything when the country burned in the summer of 2020 and thousands of police officers were injured. And many more thousands gave up being police officers because of the Democrat Party.
The handcuffs on and bring them to court and put them in prison. And if that weren't enough, when you look at the year, for the entire 7-month period that we're how good are things now? Talking about here.
Yeah.
If you look at the past 4 years of the Biden administration, 16,000, 17,000, 15,000, 15,000. That's the number of arrests year over year of violent felons in this country for the Biden administration. Mr. President, in 7 months, you have 28,600 arrests of violent felons in just
what are those criminals going to do for a living now?
7 months alone. Because of your leadership and the dedication of the men and women at the FBI who want to go out there and do the job they were preventing.
Well, I love it, don't you? You think most people would be happy about that? Not the Democrat Party. No. They do stupid crap like when government waste is being cut. They burn Tesla dealerships. And this weekend they're going to do a No Kings protest, which is pointless, completely pointless and stupid. It's just a temper tantrum, like those idiots in Portland riding around naked on their bikes. That's what toddlers do when they're throwing a tantrum. It's ridiculous. Donald Trump says San Francisco's next.
Strongly recommending, at the request of government officials, which is always nice, that you start looking at San Francisco. I think we can make San Francisco.
Yeah, there's a place called the Tenderloin District, and right now you've got zombies standing there completely bent over or laying on the ground, completely drugged out of their minds and dying.
There's one of our great cities 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and now it's a mess.
They have poop maps, so you can avoid not stepping in human feces.
And we have great support in San Francisco, so I'd like to recommend that for inclusion, maybe in your next group. You'll get great support.
Yep, and of course, Democrats will complain about it because they want to keep things crappy. Literally in the case of San Francisco. They want to keep it crappy. But Donald Trump's making America great again. It's remarkable. We got more on this coming up. Then we're going to move into the shutdown a little bit. And then John Fetterman. Zohran Mamdani had an interview yesterday. He was on Fox actually doing an interview. And what he didn't say said more than if he would have actually said something. He has not condemned Hamas. He has not said he would not arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, and of course he's going to raise up taxes and make New York City unlivable. So all of that is coming up. Joining us next is Adam Gillette, Accuracy in Media, on the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when I was a kid and I would ride in a car, I would get so car sick and so nauseous, my parents would have to carry me into the house. Recently, I went on a sailboat in Mexico, and I got so motion sick, I was sick all day. Then I found Relief Band. If you get nauseous, you absolutely must get Relief Band. Relief Band is the original anti-nausea wristband that quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and much more. Relief Band is legitimately a band you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea, and you can change the intensity to make it stronger or weaker. It's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, works quickly before or after symptoms start, and has 0 side effects. Relief Band has sold over 1 million devices and is backed by thousands of 4-star and above reviews, making it a trusted choice for fast-acting, natural nausea relief. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for Rob Carson Show listeners. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson for 20% off plus free shipping.
Sending troops to Memphis, Tennessee, 'cause it looks like Memphis could use some help from me. The mayor has done nothing to put criminals away. Memphis needs our help, and they need it there today. The city's run by Democrats who defunded police. They can't do their jobs or maintain the peace. I'm sending in the guard. Memphis needs it bad. Their mayor, Paul Young, that guy's really sad. Voted the most dangerous place in the USA. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to stay. Sending in the guard. That call, it was mine. Democrats in Memphis, listen to them whine.
Jail Jim Comey soon for his terroristic post. Comey in the slammer is what we want to see the most. In other words, lock him up. In other words, incarcerate him. Assassination threat should put Comey in the pen. Make sure that this loser won't see freedom once again. In other words, jail him today. In other words, make Jim Comey pay.
So imagine being a taxpayer in Raleigh, North Carolina. You'd think that your taxes locally are going for law enforcement, schools, roads, maybe ambulance services. Instead, you find that they're being used to fund radical DEI principles in several facets of their city government. Wow. And yet, even though they're so proud of their radical DEI ideas, they have to hide them. I guess because they know the taxpayers don't want it, and I guess because they know there are federal executive orders prohibiting their work.
Now, that is Adam Gillette, the president of Accuracy in Media. And, Donald Trump has ushered in this new era of getting all this woke nonsense out of government. But some governments are saying, nope, we're going to do it anyway in defiance of them. And fortunately, we have kind of a rebirth of journalism happening in the country. I don't know if you noticed that. You can actually report on the news without somebody saying it's misinformation and disinformation. Joining us to talk about that is Adam Gillette, the president of Accuracy in Media, who is the person you just heard on that report. Adam, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, dude. So this is what they're doing. They've been given an order. You do not use this DEI nonsense. We are not paying for it. And they're continuing to do it. Tell us what you discovered.
You know, it's so funny. When we released our K-12 investigations and our higher education investigations showing DEI in defiance of federal law, state law, executive orders, I noticed in all of the comments on the videos people saying, I thought this stuff was banned everywhere. Yeah. And having personally been undercover in 200-plus school districts, and we've got a team that goes after these universities, I knew that maybe it's banned everywhere, but it has proliferated all over the place. So we figured for the heck of it, let's go to some of these city governments that prominently had DEI previously and see if they've changed things at all in response to the executive order. And as you see in that first of many videos, the law means nothing to these radicals.
Well, how are they paying for this? Are they doing this under the table? Are they just, do they not expect we're going to find out? Shouldn't there be some sort of maybe a money trail there?
Well, that's exactly right. And essentially what we see in higher education, K-12 education, and now local government is that they simply change the job title and continue doing the exact same thing. You know, you and I could probably get in a great money-making racket if we started a business card company, because these folks, they change titles sometimes multiple times in the same year and give themselves new job titles to fly under the radar. But then when we speak to them with hidden cameras, they brag to us about how they're continuing to do the same sort of Marxist, anti-American, radicalized work with government money. You want to be a far-left activist, knock yourself out. Create a political action committee, a C3, whatever you want to do. Just don't do it under the auspices of city government. Wow.
So they formerly were known as a DEI director. What are some of the titles you've heard they're switching? I'm curious, what are they going as now? Are they just out and out lying? Is there any hint about what the title is about? Are they saying I'm a janitor, but I'm doing the DEI program? What are they doing? What kind of titles are they using?
The creativity knows no bounds. A lot of times they'll just simply say equity. They'll just keep that word. But the more discreet ones call it excellence. I work in the excellence department.
Oh, really?
My favorite one that I've heard proliferate. Oh, yeah, it's excellent to them.
The excellence department. Yes, go ahead.
In K-12 education, some of these people told me they simply rebrand it as mental health.
Wow, that's kind of ironic.
I mean, my gosh.
So you're fighting this. You're fighting this everywhere. You with Accuracy at Media, by the way, you do a great job. I love this stuff. What happens after they're exposed? Are authorities going after them? Are they having to come to Jesus? Well, probably not in Jesus, because if it's public education. No, certainly not. But what are they doing after they're exposed?
Well, the mayor of Raleigh responded to that video directly and bemoaned that we met with them under false pretenses. I guess they're the only ones who are allowed to use deception. They've got a monopoly on deception, evidently, in the Raleigh community. We can't use deception to
hold on a second. I think that's called journalism. Isn't that called journalism?
No, I think journalism is when these reporters in Raleigh write hit pieces about us where they claim that we were exposing that they pushed diversity. That's what evidently Raleigh considers to be journalism. My gosh, what a joke it is.
What the hell? I mean, what do you expect? If they're hiding something like that, the only people who are going to actually, maybe this is how upside down the world has become, because generally the liberal leftist media on the national level, they just toe the party line. So maybe they've lost touch in what journalism really is, which is supposed to hold those in power to to the truth. And maybe that's
exactly.
Now you're an outlier, I guess.
Well, they have no interest in speaking truth to power. They merely want to defend their allies in power. They're political activists masquerading as journalists, pretending to report the news, when in reality many of these news outlets report things they know not to be true merely because it's what their audience wants to hear.
Yeah.
But this is truly outrageous, what we're seeing in these videos. Imagine, as I said, you're a taxpayer in that community. The next time they ever try to raise your taxes, the first thing I'd say to them is, well, you claim you need to raise taxes for roads and parks and schools and ambulances, but you're spending my money on taxpayer-funded DEI activists to push far-left activism. A lot of people misunderstand DEI. They think it's a new version of affirmative action, and it's actually much worse than that.
Oh, yes.
What they essentially are teaching people in schools and what your city government is doing, pushing within the department and externally, is that the world, they say, is made up of oppressors and oppressed.
Of course,
white people, Americans,
yes.
were oppressors.
Yes.
And if you use violence against an oppressor, they say that's okay. That's merely resistance to oppression. That's how they defend things like the October 7th terror attack. That's what DEI is.
Unbelievable. I wish I would have known that I had a white privilege when I was out of work in radio for 2 years and lost my house. I could have just avoided it. With my white privilege, man. What the hell? What was I thinking?
I should have gotten the memo as well. I'm Jewish, which I'm proud of and whatnot, but according to them, I'm a white supremacist, and I support institutionalized systems of oppression.
You're a colonizer.
I don't necessarily let the Jews in the white supremacy.
You are a colonizer, man. The Jewish people, you guys are colonizers. It's just remarkable to me. But this is a federal executive order. So why can federal authorities go after these people?
Well, in fact, the Assistant Attorney General of the United States, Harmeet Dillon, has responded to a number of our investigations on social media. We've also had people file Title VI complaints with the federal government, and we've honestly had the feds get involved in a number of our investigations. So hopefully something will be done here. But I have to say, this is the first of many communities we're exposing in North Carolina alone, as well as plenty of others in red states throughout the country. I think Texas is up next.
I love this stuff, Adam, and I'd love to have you on as your work continues on a regular basis to tell us what you're up to, because you're doing real journalism. I believe that journalism is making a comeback. I really do. You got people like John Solomon, you got people like Matt Taibbi and Matthew Schellenberger, and all of these guys. I think some amazing things are happening. So where can people find all your work, Adam Gillette, Accuracy and Media?
Yeah, our website is aim.org, AIM.org. We're active on every social media platform, and it's such an honor to be mentioned with John Solomon, by the way.
Oh, brother.
Fantastic. But Accuracy and Media on every social media platform. We have a ton more hidden camera investigations coming out next week, and as I said, the website is aim.org.
Well, let's have you on next week then. How's that sound?
That works great for me.
All right, Adam, I appreciate your time today. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Hey, guys, it's Carson. You know what's...
That's why shutting the government is really what the Democratic Party wants to do. And I follow country, then party. And it's the wrong thing for the country in a period of chaos. I refuse to vote to shut our government down.
Wow.
I absolutely would love to have... I would love to have a conversation about extending the tax credits for health care. Absolutely. But I would remind everybody, too, this was designed by the Democratic Party to expire at the end of the year.
What?
This is not something taken by the Republicans. They were designed to...
Well, that is John Fetterman proving that, you know, that thing you do when your computer is acting up, you turn it off and turn it on? You can do that with your brain. That's what happened to John Fetterman. John Fetterman had a massive stroke. Remember that? And listen, the guy is pretty remarkable. I'm not saying he's completely, there are a lot of things he's still real well left of center on, but maybe that should happen to, it can't happen to AOC because she doesn't have a brain. So never mind on that one. Bernie Sanders, if you turned it off, I don't think he'd come back on. So, but anyway, it's kind of amazing, right? And listen, and on a kind of a personal note for him, listen to how far he's come. Listen to his speaking. Because he was barely able to speak when he was running for office and he had a stroke. And now he's not only thinking clearly and, with common sense from a Democrat. Oh my God. It's amazing. It is amazing. So, yeah, he says no on a shutdown. Shutdown day number 16. Democrats certainly are the reason being because clean CR went through the House and Democrats are holding it up. Don't let anybody try to fool you. And they're continuing to throw temper tantrums and storm around the White House and all. It just, honestly, it is so embarrassing. It's just embarrassing at this time. Here's something that'll not surprise you at all. 60% of young voters say it is acceptable to go beyond peaceful protest in response to immigration raids conducted by ICE, according to a new survey by Signal. I wonder why that is.
The Trump administration must end the war on Chicago. The Trump administration must end this war against Americans.
We don't want to have to protest anybody, but we are not going to be ignored, Brandon.
The Trump administration must end its attempt to dismantle our democracy.
Now, I want you to listen. I took some of the inflammatory rhetoric of Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker and interspersed it with actual Chicagoans.
As Black people who have been hurt continuously, it ain't our responsibility to take care of everybody else.
The Trump administration is seeking to destabilize our city and provoke chaos.
No.
I've also said for the last couple of years that the extreme right in this country refused to accept the results of the Civil War.
We are in a humanitarian crisis right now.
Yeah.
The Black people in Chicago are bleeding on the street.
These South and West Side homeowners are angry.
Protect Black housing in Chicago.
They believe the city has overextended itself and should be putting the tens of millions of dollars earmarked for migrants into Chicago's most vulnerable neighborhoods.
There is no invasion here. There is no insurrection here.
But the South Side has been under-resourced
underfunded for years, for decades.
Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, and Gregory Bovino have brought their militarized CBP and ICE agents to the streets of Chicago.
There you go. So you got inflammatory rhetoric from big fat Democrats, and then the people begging for help. This is just what Karen did during the summer of 2020. Karen, the white Karen, said we need to defund the police. And people in America's inner cities like, no, we like the police, we like the police. And then, of course, who suffered? People in America's inner cities. 42% of liberals say it's acceptable to go way beyond peaceful protest, even if it meant breaking the law. The number jumps to 60% in liberals under the age of 30. Liberals are shockingly okay. Well, he also convinced people under 30 who are liberal that they could become the opposite sex. So there was that. By the way, I went to the store yesterday. I went to Target. I didn't want to go to Target, but I went to Target. There were like 5 employees still wearing masks. I walked up to one of them. I said, "Oh my God, is there another strain of COVID that I don't know about?" Didn't get much of a response. One lady said she wore it because of allergies. Oh, okay. Wear a surgical mask for allergies. My God. Liberals shockingly okay with breaking the law to go against the government action they don't agree with, like ICE raids, according to Signal president and pollster Brent Buchanan. 25% of the 1,500 respondents told Signal that it's acceptable to go beyond peaceful protest. 11% strongly agreed, as did 18% of liberals, 34% of women under 55. Wait, I thought the violence was coming from both sides of the political equation here. Oh, no. See, that was a bunch of crap. Yeah, that was a bunch of crap. Absolutely. 70% of respondents disagreed, including 55% who strongly agreed. As far as conservatives, 84% disagreed that violence should be used. But this is your Democrat Party. This is what they do. This is what they do. But by the way, Donald Trump also yesterday in this meeting, and I don't know if you weren't listening earlier, Kash Patel said with Donald Trump's presidency thus far, about 7 months in, violent crime across America is down 20% because the FBI has been working with local authorities. So even big fat J.B. Pritzker didn't even know about it. And so the crime is on the way down even before he went into places like Washington, D.C. and Memphis.
And then I also have a question for Director Patel. I know you talked about
and they're going to Boston next.
Having some distaste for Boston recently. Is this one of the cities that you might be looking into? And can you give us a hint about other cities that you might be?
You're saying for where? For where?
For Boston.
Yeah, well, Boston has a bad mayor.
Yeah.
Who at least is a reasonable IQ person. You know, most of them are low IQ, but and they're so bad. I mean, what's going on in Chicago is just, you'd think the guy would say, hey, look, we have a problem, Mr. President. Could you come in and straighten it out? We could have that done in a month if we had their cooperation. It's going to be done anyway, but we could have it done in a month. Yeah, Boston, she's got 4 areas that are, wrong. And, somebody said, would we think about taking the World Cup away from Boston if they don't straighten it out? And the answer is yes. We have the right to do that.
Wow, that's pretty. Now, there you go. That's laying the heavy on things right there. Yeah. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide. Real news for real people.
So what I would do is text my name, Rob, to 989898, and you could be eligible for free silver with a qualifying purchase before the end of the month. Before the end of the month. So there is that. We got so much I want to get to here coming up on the show. This is kind of fun. Harry Enton talking about the Democrat Party. And, we were talking about the midterms. We've got a couple things going on. There's a Supreme Court case we'll talk about later. Talking about redistricting according to race. If they get rid of that, the Democrat Party is going to lose 19 seats without us even trying in the midterms.
You go back 6 months ago, you go back to April, Cape Baldwin, what were we looking at? Well, we were looking at the Democrats with a very clear shot of taking control of the U.S. House of Representatives, according to the Kalshi prediction market odds. We saw them at an 83% chance. But those odds have gone plummeting down. Now we're talking about just a 63% chance, while the GOP's chances up like a rocket. Democrats are not gaining the way that we expected. Then you add in the fact that the state legislators are adding potentially more GOP seats like they've already done down in Texas, like they've done in Missouri. And then you add in the potential gutting of the VRA, and all of a sudden it becomes much more difficult for Democrats to gain.
Yeah, and the great thing about it also is that the Democrat Party hasn't learned anything from the loss in November. The loss of both houses of Congress, the popular vote, and the Electoral College. They haven't learned a thing. And actually, they're doubling down on stupid. And they're caterwauling, and they're throwing temper tantrums, and they're burning Tesla dealerships, and they're going to have a big idiotic protest in Washington, D.C. based on nothing at all. It's called the No Kings. It means nothing. So their chances are spinning into hell just like the Democrat Party itself. Let's take a break and come back. We got another 2 hours of the show. Hour number 2 is next. Don't go anywhere.
Hold it now.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is hour number 2 of the Rob Carson Show, broadcasting on radio stations nationwide and also on Newsmax social media as well. Newsmax social media. If you go to any one of your favorite, social media places, whether it's YouTube, which isn't really social media, I guess it is, but Rumbly-Roo, Facebook. I call it Rumbly-Roo. It's Rumble. It's Rumble. Facebook, X, which used to be Twitter, and of course Instagram. We're broadcasting live on all of those. Just look for look for Newsmax, and then click on it right there. You'll see the show in real time today. Just right now wearing your basic black T-shirt. It's what I'm wearing today. Being comfortable here. Today I'm not sure whether to call myself divorced or single. What do you call yourself when you're divorced? I've never been divorced before. I didn't want to be divorced, but I got divorced officially yesterday. My DIVORCE became final yesterday. So I'm probably too old to be single, right? It's kind of weird. If you was 25 and single, you're like, dang, all right, let's party. Not so much, no, not now. I laugh to cover my tears. Anyway. It's interesting. It is interesting, stand-up comedians, a lot of them, about 1/3 of them have divorce material. Now, I haven't been able to make a joke out of it yet. But anyway, it's kind of weird to be that. Brianna Lyman's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. She's elections correspondent with the Federalist, Newsmax contributor. She's awesome, by the way. So she's going to be talking to us at the bottom of the hour. El Salvador has become the safest country in Hispanic America to walk at night. Bukele's strategy reduces homicide, strengthens authority and public order. That's what Donald Trump's doing in America, you see. Yeah. 87% of Salvadorans feel safe walking alone in their communities at night, far surpassing the regional average of 47%, even outperforming countries traditionally known for their safety, such as Uruguay. Is it Uruguay or Uruguay? Switzerland and Luxembourg. That's pretty cool. Radical change as a result of public security policies implemented under President Bukele's administration since the declaration of the state of exemption March of 2022. The government has carried out a mass arrest, suspected gang members, reinforced police and military presence, applying an unprecedented intelligence-based and territorial control approach. This is what Donald Trump is doing that the Democrats are complaining about. Democrats are like... keeping an abused relative locked up in a room and covering it up. That's how the Democrats are with people in America's inner cities. It's like, there's nothing to see in there, and then sooner or later one of them escapes, and then you realize how bad things are there. That's your Democrat Party. That's your Democrat Party. And the escapees are the people who say, you know what, I'm done with the friggin' Democrat Party. And you should be. It is really dreadful and shameful what they're doing to people in America's inner cities. People like J.D. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson, his yes man. It is remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. But this is what Democrats have been doing forever. After the Civil War, there were mayors in southern towns who wouldn't release the slaves. Yeah, I use that analogy. Hell yeah, because the Democrat Party hasn't changed. The Democrat Party in the 60s wanted to keep black kids out of, integrating into schools, get into better schools. George Wallace stood in the schoolhouse door. And what did Eisenhower do? He sent the National Guard. It never changes, right? It never changes. You should be ashamed of the Democrat Party. If you're a Democrat Party member, you need to consider leaving or just demanding that the dang party change. Because what you're down with right now, all of the nonsense you're down with right now, I can't imagine that anyone with a modicum of common sense and decency would be a part of this party anymore. Honestly, look at yourself in a mirror and go, what the hell am I thinking? Gah. Siege of Venezuela escalates with strategic bombers over the Caribbean. Remember last year I said that this movement toward freedom and patriotism, and now God was going to sweep over the world, and it was going to start here, and it was going to go around the world. It's happening. It's happening. Poland moved right. France is moving right. England is moving right. Next year... Nigel Farage could be the prime minister. Hopefully. It's happening. Italy's right. Venezuela's about to fall. And by the way, the woman who the opposition candidate who the election was stolen from in Venezuela, she won the Nobel Peace Prize. She's going to be the president of Venezuela. So siege of Venezuela escalates strategic bombers over the Caribbean as Trump administration reportedly unleashes CIA covert operations in Venezuela. You know why? Because the SOB in charge of Venezuela has been unloading his prisons into America and then sending all sorts of fentanyl. There was a body count. He has been taking American casualties for years, and the bastard's going to get taken out. He's going to get taken down. During the morning, 3 United States Air Force B-52 strategic bombers, the Love Shack, were spotted over international waters off the coast of Venezuela. In a sky-shattering flex that screams regime-crushing thunder. That's kind of cool. I like that. Who wrote that? That's fantastic. 2 USAF B-52 Strato Fortress behemoths blitzed the southern Caribbean just 100, 240 miles from Caracas. If their capital's Caracas, you better come knocking. They orbited for hours in a blatant missile drill that has Maduro's dictatorship sweating apocalypse. Venezuelan F-16 scrambled like cornered rats. Echoes of Trump's anti-Trump hammer. Who wrote this? This is spectacular. My God. I think this is from the Gateway Pundit. Dang it. This is good stuff here. Launched from the Barksdale Air Force Base with a shadowy tag-along. This is so good. The 60-year-old nuclear titans. Oh, somebody else is turning 60 this month. And I'm a nuclear titan too. Yeah. Modeled for cruise missile Hellfire, ghosted over Cuba and Mexico before locking on to Venezuela's coast. This is fantastic. The flight drew 5,000 trackers and ignited global panic. No, not really. Just the people in the Maduro regime crapping their pants. As Caracas screamed, provocation! The Pentagon stonewalls it is routine training, but insiders whisper Trump's lethal boat strikes are escalating the shadow war. And here is Donald Trump. He was asked yesterday, well, why don't you just take the Coast Guard and go after those drug boats that are carrying the fentanyl that's going to come to America and kill all these Americans?
On Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not? This way you can confirm who's on the boat and ensure that they're doing what they suspect.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective. They have faster boats. Some of these boats are seriously, they're world-class speedboats, but they're not faster than missiles. But we've been trying to do that for years, and so much of the drugs, 25-30%, would come in through the seas. Right now we have, I would say, none coming in through the seas. Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend taking the boat out. No, I would not if you're going to be delivering some drugs. And here is Donald Trump talking about what each one of these boats, why they're bombing the snot out of these boats. And by the way, Americans love this. We love this. You got Democrats, what about this and that and this and that? There is a military intelligence that can prove these boats are trafficking drugs. They have all of the intelligence they need. All of the intelligence they need to take these people out. And what does it mean to us?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. They have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population.
Yeah.
Every boat is saving 25,000 lives, and you can see it. The boats get hit, and you see that fentanyl all over the ocean. It's like floating in bags. It's all over the place, and it's a tremendous the
American people love it because we love it when the good guys win. We love it when America goes in and kicks some serious butt. That's what we do. We love it. That's winning, kids. This is Jim Gossett taking down the drug boats on the Rob Carson Show.
Drugs transported by boat. Venezuela, You best take note. Cartels, they're having fits. Cause they're men. They were blown to bits.
It's raining men.
The drug boat, it now resides on the ocean floor.
Coming up, Fantasy Island.
The drug boat. Marco says we're gonna take out more. Yes, their lives are in danger if they take another chance. 'Cause drugs, we won't tolerate.
Nope, not taking it anymore.
Shut it down before it's too late. No drugs.
Big finish.
A boat that was filled with drugs.
There you go. That is Jim Gossett, by the way, in case you wanted to know. He is a brilliant man. He's the only person whose comedy I've used. I normally just write all my own comedy. We collaborated on a lot of stuff. He's brilliant. If you'd like to help him out as a conservative content creator, just go to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. Patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. He does about 2 songs a day, and they're brilliant. I've got one for... Alec Baldwin I'm going to play later in the show. You're going to love this one. We got one on Alec Baldwin crashing into a tree. Fortunately, the only thing that died was the tree. Anyway, that is all coming up. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Fasten your seatbelt, deep state. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. It's the Rob Carson Show.
It is the Rob Carson Show. Brianna Lyman's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. Gen Z influencer and brilliant commentator. You see her all over the place. Newsmax. She works with the Federalist and all of that. So I'd like to hear what she has to say. At the bottom of the hour, a variety of issues. You know, we have a jingle here on the show that Ken, my producer, also known as Redneck MacGyver, came up with because of all the winning.
We love to win. Winning, winning, so much winning. It's lots of winning. Lots of winning, lots of winning, lots of winning, lots of winning. Lots of winning. It's oh so good.
Yeah, because of Donald Trump's presidency, he's kicking butt because, you know, he had an election stolen from him. He had to sit out, and they tried to put him in jail and take his fortune and murder him and everything. And so they really kind of screwed the pooch. They actually caused the movement to accelerate, just like they did by murdering Charlie Kirk about a month ago. Yeah, it's going to come back and bite the left in the butt big time, but they're going to go out and they're going to throw a temper tantrum this weekend. This weekend, it's the No Kings protest. We're not burning Tesla dealerships because apparently Elon Musk isn't a Nazi anymore. Weird how that happens. He was a Nazi, the worst Nazi ever in the history of mankind just 6 months ago, and all of a sudden now, I guess he's not a Nazi anymore. Or maybe these protests are just bought and paid for. Jeep parent company Stellantis has announced a $13 billion U.S. investment plan. Why would they come here and invest? Oh, my God, Donald Trump's the worst president ever. No. They're bringing manufacturing back to the country. So there you go. Stellantis, the parent company of Chrysler, Jeep, and other auto brands, plans to invest $13 billion in U.S. manufacturing operations over the next 4 years. The transatlantic automaker on Tuesday said the investments will add more than 5,000 jobs to its domestic workforce and increase domestic production by 50%. I've got a Bronco, and his name is Buck, by the way. And the other day I was driving around, and there was this Jeep owner, and Jeep owners, I think mostly the women who own the Jeeps, get those ducks. They line these ducks up on their dash. It's a sign of owning a Jeep. You put a duck on the dash of the truck. Well, that's cool, you know. Whatever. And I just went over. I said, "Hey, you got a nice Jeep," because it was all tricked out, had a lift kit on it and everything, and. And there's kind of a friendly rivalry between the new Bronco and the Jeep. They're both great, by the way. I thought about getting a Jeep. I lived in Kansas City. Everybody owns a Jeep or rides a Harley. So I said, I don't want to do a Jeep. I don't want to do a Jeep. But she gave me an honorary duck. Because I walked away, and she came over. I was getting my car. She goes, "You got a nice truck, too." And she gave me this little card. It was really cute, with a little tiny duck about the size of the end of my finger, and then this card that says honorary duck, and I've got that on the dash of my truck Jeep. We need to, as Bronco owners, we need to come up with something like that, something cool though, like a bulldog or something. I don't even know what we should do, but it's got to be something cool. It's got to be something cool. That's all there is to it. So that's some of the winning there. Oh, here's some more winning. Donald Trump he wants to build an Arc de Triomphe in Washington, D.C. This is pretty cool. So the Democrats are being and whining about the ballroom that's being built by the White House, even though they've been wanting it for decades. And Donald Trump has the influence and the power to get a whole bunch of people in there with money to pay for it. And yet the Democrats are still being and whining about it because they're a bunch of crybabies. Well, he also wants to build an Arc de Triomphe. We haven't had the last monument I think that was built in the city was the MLK monument, and the World War II monument, the Roosevelt monument, and now they want to build an Arc de Triomphe like the one they got in France. There you go.
It would look like in either of the three, any of the three sizes, which is right here. I don't know if you can see. So that's Lady Liberty. Lady, did you ever hear of Lady?
Okay, you can't hear that very well, but it looks just like the Arc de Triomphe from Paris. And maybe we ought to have France do it, because, they gave us the Statue of Liberty. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, though. It would be kind of nice to have an Arc de Triomphe. It is, guys, remarkable to watch the city, because I made Washington, D.C. my home for a dozen years. I lived in Montgomery County, Maryland. And it is just, there is a sense of pride about the city now. It is remarkable. It is really, really remarkable. Here's some more good news. Donald Trump, he's playing 3D chess around the world, and for instance, you didn't even know what got Israel and Hamas to the peace deal. But there were a lot of balls in the air there. A lot of things going on. He was working with all these Arab countries, and he went to Qatar and to Saudi Arabia and said, here's the deal. You can enjoy life on earth, or I can take you to paradise. What do you want to do? And they said, how about we just invest, $4 or $5 trillion in America, and then we work on this peace deal. And then another puzzle piece was Donald Trump blowing the snot out of Iran's nuclear facilities. And that immediately cut off all the money to Hamas, right? Isn't that amazing how that happens? And so you got a lot of balls in the air. And right now, Donald Trump is trying to get this war between Russia and Ukraine, which Joe Biden got started, by the way. He got it started. Yeah, he invited Russia in, essentially. He did. You go just read about it. I've covered it on the show here. And so what is Donald Trump doing? Well, he's going to start starving the Russia war machine, and India is no longer going to buy oil from Russia.
And he's assured me there will be no oil purchased from Russia. I don't know, maybe that's a breaking story.
Crazy.
Can I say that? Would you say?
Crazy.
There will be no oil. He's not buying his oil from Russia. It started. You know, he can't do it immediately. It's a little bit of a process. But the process is going to be over with soon.
Wow.
And all we want from President Putin is stop this. Stop killing Ukrainians. And stop killing Russians, because he's killing a lot of Russians. Again, it doesn't make him look good. It's a war that he should have won in 1 week, and he's now going into his 4th year. That does not make this big so-called war machine look.
Yeah, so he's cutting off their oil and causing them to lose a lot of money. And sooner or later, he's going to get another notch in the belt. This will be peace deal number 8. By the way, Hamas says that it has handed back all the bodies it can reach as the remains of 2 more hostages are returned. That's a breach of the deal. And that's permission to kick some Hamas butt, as far as I'm concerned. And when you consider what the Hamas members did to Israeli hostages, I got a story I'm going to share here very shortly on the show about someone who was freed and what they did to him in captivity. I had no passion or compassion for Hamas members and the supporters. I do not one little bit. And I'm hoping that they will they will screw around and find out and give Donald Trump and the IDF and Benjamin Netanyahu an excuse to go in there. Also coming up, the Zohran Mamdani did an interview with Fox yesterday, and what he said, what he didn't say, said more than what he said. Brianna Lyman joins us next. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know, when I was a kid and I would ride in a car, I would get so car sick and so nauseous, my parents would have to carry me into the house. Recently, I went on a sailboat in Mexico, and I got so motion sick, I was sick all day. Then I found Relief Band. If you get nauseous, you absolutely must get Relief Band. Relief Band is the original anti-nausea wristband that quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and much more. Relief Band is legitimately a band you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea, and you can change the intensity to make it stronger or weaker. It's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, works quickly before or after symptoms start, and has 0 side effects. Relief Band has sold over 1 million devices and is backed by thousands of 4-star and above reviews, making it a trusted choice for fast-acting, natural nausea relief. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for Rob Carson Show listeners. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson for 20% off plus free shipping. I'll just tell you, if I were Spider-Man, my spidey sense would be going off majorly, and certainly if I was Jewish, living in Washington, D.C., it would be going off. My God. Brianna Lyman, elections correspondent, the Federalist, Newsmax contributor. She's all over the place, and now she's on the Rob Carson Show. How are you, Brianna?
Rob, thanks so much for having me.
What did you think about that interview yesterday?
Oh, God. I mean, he should have been disqualified back in June, but this interview was extremely disqualifying, and I think the clip you just played about Hamas is really upsetting for several reasons. First and foremost, any candidate in America who cannot unequivocally condemn Hamas and acknowledge that no terrorist organization should have their hands on weapons should not be in a position of power. Two, the fact that he keeps talking about international law, this is something we keep hearing from the left. There is no such thing as international law. It is fake. It is made up. The founders would have never stood for the idea that we should be beholden to laws set by people who have different goals, values, cultures, ideologies than us.
Well, he is, he's a liar. I'll just say it. He's a liar. He's doing what he has to do to get elected. You can tell it, that fake smile on his face. He's saying what he has to say to get elected. And I'm, I'm just amazed that more people, no, I'm not. Democrats don't get it. And particularly young Democrats who don't understand history, haven't paid any attention to history, and have been brainwashed in universities. They don't see through this. And while everyone, we've already seen this. This ship has already sailed. It left 100 million bodies in ground last century. And he still, did you hear what he said about Netanyahu and getting arrested? Let me play it for you, okay, Brianna? Is that cool? Mm-hmm. Here he is being asked about arresting Benjamin Netanyahu, which is what he said he would do.
You said that you would arrest Netanyahu if he came to the United States. You've been very outspoken in your criticism of him. Do you stand by that? You would arrest him if he came here, if you were mayor?
I've said that this is a city that believes in international law, and this is a city that wants to uplift and uphold those beliefs. The Prime Minister...
The United States doesn't stand by the International Criminal Court.
It hasn't signed the treaty for the International Criminal Court. The International Criminal Court, however, has issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu.
But what grounds in the United States could you arrest him on?
As it has for Vladimir Putin. I've said that I believe that...
Well, he likens Benjamin Netanyahu to Vladimir Putin. I think, again, he didn't officially say it, but we know what he's saying, don't we?
Yeah, and he should be more concerned about arresting the criminals on the streets of New York and not cutting and slashing funding for the NYPD than he is about arresting a leader of a country that has endured more turmoil in the past 2 years than other countries have. And again, this idea of international court, Mamdani is not running for the people of New York City. He is running for the globalists of the world. He is running for the Palestinians living over in Gaza. He's running for his own people from Uganda, but he is not running for the American people. And unfortunately, I don't think there's anything Cuomo or Sliwa for sure can do to change the outcome of this race. And I think that's what's most disheartening, is that Mamdani can come out and keep saying, the wrong things. He can say bad things, and it just is not going to change anything. I
just don't understand how the Jewish population in New York can be run over so handily by somebody who is obviously anti-Semitic.
Yeah, and I hope that now that we have the Trump administration in office, at least, if we see the types of violent campus protests and harassments we saw, under Biden against Jewish students in New York, if we see that happen under Mamdani or other worse things, at least we know the federal government can step in and ensure that the law is being followed and applied. And hold Mamdani accountable, because it is not a safe space for Jewish persons in New York right now. I have plenty of Jewish friends in New York who are dreading Mamdani simply because he is pro Hamas sympathizer.
Yeah. There are a lot of elections going on. We've got one in Virginia. I moved to Virginia, by the way. I think that's the last time we spoke. I live in northern Virginia, near across the river from the swamp. And we got a pretty crazy election going here. It looks like the tide has turned for the AG candidate from the Democrats, because he fantasized about murdering somebody and his children. And now Jason Miyares is ahead in that race. And the race is now within the margin of error for the governor between Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Sears. What are your thoughts on the election in Northern Virginia? And then I want to move on to New Jersey with Citarelli and Mikey.
Yeah, I think in Virginia, I think Miyares has a really good chance of winning. I think it's really upsetting that so many Virginians actually have early voted before the horrific text from Jay Jones came out, and I think that's kind of an indictment of how bad month-long elections are, because the stuff dropped recently. People already cast their votes. And I'm sure there are people who cast their votes for Jay Jones and are regretting it.
Yep.
When it comes to the gubernatorial race, I do think Abigail Spanberger is going to win, and not because she's the most qualified person to do the job, but because, one, she out-fundraised Winston Sears. I think in July it was like 2-to-1 fundraising. That's a really big hurdle to overcome.
Yeah.
The second thing is the flashpoint when Youngkin was running with Sears was parents' rights. And McAuliffe was very outspoken about how parents were just not going to have a say. So that was really a huge flashpoint. It doesn't seem to be as big of an issue or as up front in your face this go-around as it was the last time. So it's kind of hard for Winston to capitalize on that now. And last but not least, look, Upper Northern Virginia is a dormitory for left-wing think tanks and institutions.
I know.
These are people who are federal employees, probably affected by the shutdown, and they will absolutely feel more of an impetus to go out and vote for a Democrat just to, stick it to Republicans.
Yeah. What about New Jersey? Schiaparelli, he nearly won the last time, and he seems to have the momentum this time. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel hopeful about New Jersey, actually. I mean, we know it swung, 5 points last election cycle. It's more of a swing state than Florida is, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I think the big flashpoint in New Jersey is energy prices. When he ran the last time, he warned that energy prices were going to skyrocket because you can't just jump into clean energy. Even if we want to move towards that, you can't make that jump. And the experts, the climate change experts, and the Democrats didn't listen. They called him a fearmonger, all that jazz. And as it turns out, New Jersey's energy prices are just skyrocketing. You couple that with higher taxes. I mean, New Jerseyans are being suffocated under the weight of their Democrat government. And Mikey Sherrill just does not have a plan to fix that. She didn't have the foresight to see the problems that they're facing now. And with Mamdani possibly coming in, there are a lot of people who commute from New Jersey to New York City every day who will be saddled with, commuter taxes, higher fares, things like that. So I do think you really need Jack in office to counter not only what's happening in New York City, but to counter the Democrats in his own state.
Now, did you see the polling numbers with Stefanik and Hochul? After Hochul endorsed Mamdani, and of course, Mamdani did not reciprocate, but it really tightened up. I think the rest of New York does not like Mamdani, and certainly don't like her endorsing. What do you think about that potential of that race happening?
Yeah, I as much as I like Elise, and I would love for her to win, I don't know if that's going to be an easy hurdle. Obviously, New York is Republican once you kind of get out of the city. But it's sparsely populated compared to the city and parts of Long Island. That being said, the only reason Hochul really endorsed Mamdani, I think, is because her lieutenant governor, who's probably going to try and run against her, endorsed Mamdani. So she had to kind of get ahead of that curve because that'll kind of put her at odds in the Democratic primary if there is one. But she's also made it clear that she doesn't agree with Mamdani on everything, which I don't believe that. I think she does. But I think she's going to try and separate herself from Mamdani the best she could while he's in office to try and hold on to her seat.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your take on all of this. You just know your stuff so well. You're on X at Brianna Lyman 2. By the way, where else can people find all your work, Brianna?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Brianna.Lyman. You can find me at The Federalist, or you can find me on YouTube where I post all of my media hits.
I really appreciate your time today, Brianna. Nice to catch up with you. We'll have you on again soon. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Great, man. She knows her stuff.
Life insurance is one of the...
Stapleton. Oh! Man, he kicks butt. Chris Stapleton just kicks butt. I love his music. So, October is Cybersecurity Month, by the way. It's also my birthday next week, actually. Thank you very much. And just about a week ago, I downloaded a program on my computer. It was a couple weeks ago. It was to a switcher for 3 cameras in my studio here. And I thought it was safe and fine, and all of a sudden my computer freezes up and all the programs stop working while I was on the air. You need protection against viruses, malware, ransomware, phishing, all of this, constantly being phished for nonsense. They say, oh, your credit card is expired, or oh, your subscription's about ready to, end, and you're like, oh, I don't want that to happen because, you like to pay your bills and everything. Then you find out it's just people trying to steal and ruin and all of that. I found WebRoot Total Protection, by the way, and it kicks butt. It really, really does. It is remarkable. Real-time antivirus protection against emerging threats like malware, ransomware, phishing, firewall, and network monitor. Web Threat Shield detects and blocks malicious websites before you can go there. I was talking about, I use these sites to download videos from YouTube and whatnot. These video converters. And 80% of them are suspicious. They will screw you over. You got to be really careful. But right now, if you want to sign up for this amazing deal, check it out. WebRoot Total Protection. Go to webroot.com/Carson. 60% off. You won't believe what 1 year of protection costs. You might even have it in your wallet right now, or your handbag, whatever the hell I don't know what you got. I don't know how you carry your money. If you're married with children, you probably don't have any money. But anyway, I remember that. 60% off. Just go to webroot.com/Carson. Webroot.com/Carson. You can trust this company. Credit and financial monitoring, rapid alerts there. VPN for 5 or 10 devices. Select your connection from 80 locations in more than 65 countries. Hide your IP address, personal data, and location from hackers. Oh my gosh. So there you go. Webroot.com/Carson. Webroot.com/Carson. I was talking earlier about how John Fetterman, he had turned off and turned on his brain, and all of a sudden it's working now. And he's like the only common sense Democrat out there. It's remarkable. And here he is talking about, oddly enough, I know this kind of sounds strange, he says that Trump and his voters are not Nazis or fascists.
I'm the only Democrat in my family. I grew up in a conservative part of Pennsylvania, and I grew up and I know and I love people that voted for President Trump.
Wow.
But they are not fascists.
What?
They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution and those things. And that's part of it.
Well, that's not what the Democrat Party's been saying. They've been saying this for years, and now people are actually scribing it on the shell casings when they murder people like Charlie Kirk.
We must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving America than the MAGA Republicans are destroying America.
Remember that? Yeah, he was standing in front of Independence Hall when he did that speech out of whole cloth, came out of nowhere, just to call us MAGA fascists and enemies of democracy right there in front of Independence Hall. He claimed it for himself and his party, even though it belongs to all of us.
The MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and economic security. They're a threat to our very democracy.
Wow.
They refuse to accept the will of the people.
It's like they were trying to sow the seeds of discourse so people would get murdered and violence would happen.
You and 81 million Americans voted to save our democracy. Donald Trump is...
Yeah, sure. 81 million people voted for you. You bet.
He isn't just a former president.
Oh, yeah.
He is a defeated former president. We just have to vote, and make sure no one ever has the opportunity to steal an election again.
They just use the words of war. They just use the words of war. It's not a war of words. They use the words of war. Here is Mr. Fetterman again.
Another thing, I refuse to call people Nazis or fascists, or I would never compare anybody to Hitler and those things. And now that kinds of extreme rhetoric is going to continue. We're going to be more likely in resulting in extreme kind of outcomes and political violence and doing all these kinds of things like Charlie Kirk. Yeah. For me, all I could say is like, let people grieve. Give people the space.
Yeah.
I'm not going to use that terrible thing and that passive assassination to make my argument and try to put out my views. It's like, my God, he's a father that had his neck blown out by a bullet.
Wow.
And now people have forgotten President Trump was in my state, was shot in the head. And if that would have, could you imagine where our nation would be if he was hit in the same way with Kirk? We really got to turn the temperature down. And we can agree to disagree on these kinds of things. But right now, shutting down the government, I just can't take it that.
There you go. Well, that's that. Isn't it strange that just a couple of years ago, what he just said there was common sense, right? Yeah. Remember what I said about 2024 being the year we turn back to common sense from nonsense? Yeah. That was common sense. What he just said there was common sense. I give the man credit for it. I mean, it's not like, well, it shouldn't be a revelation to people. It shouldn't be revelation to people. But at least with his brain reset, he's got that going. And it sounds like he might even have some compassion going, which is something you don't hear from Democrats. It's crazy. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey guys, it's Carson. You know what's the scariest part of October? It's not haunted houses or horror movies. It's being vulnerable to cyber criminals. How are ya? Joanne Scheid-Emery, good to see you there. Robert Lawson, hello. Let's see. You're talking about a Christian Right podcast from Newsmax. Which one is that? I don't know. Is it my show? Well, I'm Christian and I'm conservative. Maybe. I don't see the thread there. I apologize. I'm kind of busy. I'm a little easily distracted. What the hell was that? I mean, a little easily distracted is what I am. So, Monique, Vermont, how are you? Good to see you there on the Rumbly-Roo. And, of course, over on YouTube, all of the people. Sean C. Stark. Are you related to Tony? Bruce Radford. Hi, what up? What up, Brucey? G. Wood's back. MP Boxer. Haven't seen you before. Trump is woke. We need better. What the hell are you talking about? Let's see what else here. Tigers Mundo's back. You were here yesterday, Tigers Mundo. Glad to see you were there. Sean C. Clark as well. Hope you're enjoying the show. I also hope that you will share with others as well. Somebody just said happy birthday. Yeah, my birthday's next Wednesday. It's weird. My original birth certificate had me on October the 23rd. And then when I was adopted at 11, it was October 22nd. So I think I was a really big baby. I like to say I'm the 23rd because that makes me a Scorpio. I always leaned into the Scorpio. We're kind of mischievous that way, if you believe that stuff. And not really. But I don't want to be a Libra because Libras are kind of, like they have cats and stuff. I'm not a cat owner. And I drink real milk. I don't do soy lattes and stuff. So I'm definitely a Scorpio, not a Libra. So I don't want to insult you Libras. There's a lot of Libras out there. Don't get me wrong. My wife is a Libra, but she's not my wife. Diggy. When you eat at fancy restaurants, they'll bring you sorbet. And you know why sorbet is there? You're thinking, oh, that's just like ice cream. No. It's like this frozen fruit thing, and it's a palate cleanser. Gives you the opportunity to reset your palate. I like to do that with comedy. This is brand new from Jim Gossett about Alec Baldwin, who says that a garbage truck cut him off and he ran into a tree. Turns out when we saw the video from the garbage truck, it was all Alec's fault. He lied about it, kind of like he did shooting that woman. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But anyway, it's brand new. I think you'll enjoy it if you're a boomer.
Alec and Stephen Baldwin in an SUV.
Or a Gen Xer.
Watch out for that tree. Hey. Alec, he gunned the engine oh so carelessly. Watch out for that tree.
Hey.
It was Alec's luck that a garbage truck he could blame and pass the buck. Was a proven lie no one would buy. People said, hey, nice try. Alec and Stephen Baldwin, how could they not see? Watch out for that tree. It's no joke, he destroyed an oak. Now he is blowing smoke. It's a crying shame, he won't take the blame. It's just more of the same. Dangerous Alec Baldwin drives so foolishly. Watch out for that tree.
That Jim Gossett. Help him out by going to patreon.com, Jim Gossett Comedy. It's from the TV show George of the Jungle. I never saw that show. That's kind of like a boomer show from is it the early 60s? I don't even know. George of the Jungle. Never saw George of the Jungle. We had stupid cartoons as Generation X. We had a show called Grape Ape. That was so stupid. And Captain Caveman and Inch High Private Eye. What the hell? This is why we played outside. But we ate it like pablum. We did. We just ate up those cartoons. They were terrible. We watched them because the only time you could watch them was Saturday mornings. It's crazy. Exact salary you need to live comfortably in every major city in the United States. Most expensive places, San Jose, San Francisco, San Diego. You got to have $200,000 to live there. Do you realize in San Jose, and yes, I know the way there, the single-family home, $1.5 million. You need $64,000 to live comfortably alone there. Average monthly mortgage payment in the city known as the capital of Silicon Valley, $8,500. $8,500 mortgage. Unbelievable. San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles, all $251,000, $206,000, and $194,000, respectively. New York City, $184,000. One of the cheapest places to live is Detroit, but you got to live in Detroit. That's the only drawback, is you got to live in Detroit. Other cities to make the list, Seattle, Washington, you got to make $178K. Boston, Massachusetts, $169. Washington, D.C.'s got to be up there. Washington, D.C.'s got to be. I got a one-bedroom apartment that costs $700 more than my single-family mortgage in Kansas. But again, I had to live in Kansas. So there's that. There is that. Hey, we got another hour of the show coming up. Oh, it's going to be good. Bernie Sanders and AOC on stage last night. Bernie got all worked up, man. His heartbeat went up above like 60 beats. It was incredible. That's coming up. Also, Zohran Mamdani's interview yesterday. Got some more highlights from that as well. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. It's hour number 3 of the show. I hope you're enjoying it thus far. If you missed any of it, please feel free to download the podcast. We take the show every day. It's a 3-hour show. We get rid of all the commercials and everything. And my producer, Redneck MacGyver, Ken, he does it, and we put it up on all the social media platforms, all the podcast platforms. So if you would share it with others, I'm very proud of the show. I'm proud of how it's developing. I like to say it's a work in progress. I never stop learning, and I just think the comedy element is what I like to lead into. Obviously, we lead edge with opinion, but if we can make a point with humor, that's what we do. Just like what Rush did, and I brought the comedy to Rush's show. And, it was funny. I wore one of my T-shirts around the other day. Yesterday, I wore the T-shirt, my Don't Catch the Stupid shirt. And I was at Target. Normally, I'm not a Target shopper. It's just Walmart's another direction. I was over that in Mayorhood. So I went to Target. And there's a woman at the cash register. She's like, "Oh, my God, that's fantastic. Don't catch the stupid." I said, "What's my slogan for my radio and television show?" And she was like, "Oh, my goodness." Okay, so I told her about the show, and we'll see if she listens. It's I live in Alexandria, Virginia, so I'm not holding my breath. Although you do see Gadsden flag cars with the license plate Gadsden flag around here. And then you see, did you see that? This is funny. I thought about doing this for Buck for Halloween. There's a viral picture of a guy with his truck, and on the front of his truck is a mannequin wearing a black outfit, and on the back in white letters it says Antifa. So it looks like he ran over an Antifa member. I know that'd be really funny for Halloween, right? Have an Antifa member stuck on the front of your truck. Oh man, would I get some looks? I mean, it's bad enough. I have these. I have a chrome badge on the back of my truck that says FJB Edition. You figure it out. I don't think most people understand it until after I've already gone. But anyway, there's that. Mitch McConnell fell down again. He fell down again. He's 82 years old. I'm glad he's retiring. Eleanor Holmes Norton is supposed to be running again. She's close to 90 years old, and she can't even walk and has, it looks like massive cognitive decline and all of that. I mean, it's not good. And there's just got to be a point, honestly. Listen, our president is 79 years old, and he is just kicking butt. But when you're starting to show like this and you're struggling physically to be able to walk or have a thought, and, like AOC, who's a moron, she's trying to project on Donald Trump. "Oh, yeah, he's falling asleep." Oh, really? He's falling asleep? Nobody has seen that. Please, give me a break. She was on stage yesterday with Bernie Sanders, and Bernie tried to C-block her, I guess, because they're asked about whether or not she was going to primary Chuck Schumer. And Bunny decided to talk all over her instead of letting her answer the question.
But are you saying that Senator Schumer should not be worried about a primary challenge from you?
All right.
No.
Let me jump in on this one. This is what we're
talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
This is what we're
talking about. You have a country
that
is...
Now, here is Bernie Sanders spewing a bunch of nonsense about the country that is absolutely untrue. Because when Joe Biden was the president, every single metric of quality of life descended into hell. I'll just remind you real quick, because I lived in flyover country when that was happening, and I saw people worked to death. Yeah. We had a little grocery store that I would go to. It was a little kind of leaned into the Hispanic population a little bit. And I would go up there, and they were the women in their 70s working there. And they had to work there because, they were broke. And 2 of them in the 4 years that I lived there died while working there. So they worked themselves to death. And I don't know if you do this, but the price of cars doubled. And the price of houses doubled. And the price of most grocery items doubled. You don't remember that, do you? Yeah, they haven't come down either. It was hell. It was hell for most people. And nobody gave a rat's behind about it until Donald Trump became the president. So here's Bernie Sanders spewing a bunch of absolute nonsense about the state of the country when every metric of quality of life now is going through the ceiling. And it's amazing.
Falling apart. We had a house housing crisis, a healthcare crisis, an education.
How are we having a healthcare crisis? You passed the damned Obamacare against the will of the American people. That was going to fix everything. You were going to fix everything, Bernie. You've been in office 40 years, Bernie. Everything he just says right now, he should have fixed by now. But you know all he did? Write books, sell books, and buy houses. He's got 4 of them.
Crisis. Massive income and wealth inequality. A corrupt campaign.
Yeah, you're filthy rich.
Finances.
You're a public servant.
And the media says, oh, you're going to run. What are you going to run for? Nobody cares. She'll run what she wants.
Nobody cares. It's the House Speaker and President Trump and the Vice President saying it.
All right.
Pardon?
Well, of course, they're saying it to deflect attention away from the real issue.
Exactly.
And here, let me tell you what the real issue is. Let's see if CNN talks about it.
What is the real issue? What is the real issue? We got $17 trillion of manufacturing coming in. Stellantis is going to start building cars again here. We're bringing back the military. We got too many people signing up for the military. We're projecting power around the world. Donald Trump has signed 7-piece deals. 7-piece deals. Inflation is flatlining. People who have blue-collar jobs are above inflation now, unlike when Joe Biden, putting for brains, was auto-pinning his way through the presidency.
The richest country in the history of the world, right? All right, you tell me why we're the only nation not to guarantee health care to all people.
Why have you failed at everything? Why haven't you fixed anything? Listen, everything he's saying right there has been this way since he got in Congress. Why hasn't he done anything?
The only nation not to guarantee paid family and medical leave. Why we have a $7.25 an hour minimum wage. Why we have
Oh, God, I'm just so tired of your crap. Honestly, just so tired of your crap. Here's a guy in the audience destroying Bundy when it comes to the government shutdown.
How do you think this shutdown reflects on Chuck Schumer's leadership?
Well, I think it reflects more on Mike Johnson's leadership and President Trump's leadership. This is a leadership that said it's okay to give well, how do you feel? You tell me. Think it's a good idea to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the richest people in the country and then make
blah, 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 blah. The rich don't pay enough taxes. Health breaks for tax breaks for the rich. Fix health care. Oh, we haven't done any of it.
Cuts to health care for working class people?
I think Chuck Schumer has voted for continuing resolutions 13 times in the last 4 years, and he has the opportunity to vote for one again, but he's refusing to come to the table.
I think, look.
Oh, Bernie, you just got your wrinkly old butt handed to you there, which I would not want to have those hands. Ooh, weird. Here's Ted Cruz talking about what the Democrats have been doing the last 9 months, which is exactly what they've been doing for the last 50 years. Nothing.
9-10 months with the Democrats embracing one extreme position after another another. They learned nothing from the election in 2024.
Told you.
It's like every issue across the sun, they picked every 80-20 issue and decided, let's take the 20 side of it and let's abandon the middle class. Let's abandon ordinary working people. And you look at this shutdown now. The shutdown is driven by 2 things. It's driven, number one, by their desire for free taxpayer-provided health care for illegals. That is an extreme. That's the 20% side of an 80-20, and they're willing to shut the government down. But number two, what this is really about is Chuck Schumer is facing a political crisis. He almost lost his job earlier this year when the Democrats agreed to keep the government open. And he's looking over his left shoulder at AOC. She is breathing down his neck. Yeah. The reason we are shut down in day 15 of the Schumer shutdown is Schumer is trying to show the radical left he hates Donald Trump as much as they do.
You know, it's amazing. Old Bernie there being and whining about health care for Americans, which, by the way, I just signed up for health care. Now that I'm not married, no longer in the family plan. It is not cheap. There was a couple plans that I was about for one man, healthy, workout, don't drink, don't smoke, $850 a month. Okay, $850. The deductible is $7,000. $7,000. There you go. But here's Bernie. He says that illegal aliens, they should be taken care of.
So I think the time is long overdue for us to be clear that health care is a human right for all, including, by the way, the undocumented in this country.
It's illegal aliens. Illegal aliens. If you went to Mexico, they would never consider giving you health care. Never consider giving you anything. By the way, Another great story that happened that Bernie Sanders and the Democrats didn't bother to take to focus on is the price of prescription drugs is going to drop by 85% in our country. And under the last 50 years of both parties being in charge, people end up going to Canada, people going to Mexico, people in their senior citizens. I remember my in-laws used to drive to Mexico to get their drugs. Every other shop in Mexico, you either get shot glasses or ponchos, and then right next door you can get your prescription drugs because it's so damned expensive. Here, Donald Trump is working with Pfizer and Merck, and they're bringing down the price of prescription drugs up to 85%. Bunny, you've been in Washington, D.C. for 40 years. You've done nothing at all. It is ridiculous. Let's take a break and come back, shall we? This is the Rob Carson Show.
and only one person in the Democratic Party has broken with the ranks. It's like, I don't understand it. It hasn't been working well for Democrats with Mamdani.
This is pretty simple. The government does not have to be shut down. It doesn't have to be shut down. We can
Senator,
fix this
now
here
you're just parsing,
in a matter of just a couple days. I mean, this could be easily solved
to
by
go
sitting
past
down
cloture,
at the
to
table.
Get past 60. To get past 60, you need some Democrats to reopen the. That's what's going to have to happen, Senator. You close the government down because you want $1.5 trillion for all these different things that Schumer wants. It's obvious to everyone. Although maybe you can convince the public that it's the Republicans, but it's not.
There you go. That is Joe Kiernan on CNBC calling out Mark Kelly, who, believe it or not, he was an astronaut. I just can't imagine someone that intelligent being an astronaut, But then again, they sent Gayle King into space briefly. So there is that. There is that. That was actually that was a glorified roller coaster ride. I would do that. I would get on one of Elon Musk's rockets and go out and experience weightlessness for a little while. By the way, Chris Salcedo, my buddy, joins us at the bottom of the hour. The rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, a new American revolution. He's a hell of a nice guy, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. One of the best people I know, and he's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. So we're really glad about that. So for those of you who are feeling like Zohran Mamdani refuses to condemn Hamas. He does. He's like, whatever. He didn't answer a lot of questions yesterday during his interview with Fox. Here he is being asked about giving Donald Trump some credit for the ceasefire because Donald Trump did it, really.
If you are asked tomorrow night if you give credit to President Trump for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the return of the 20 living hostages, would you raise your hand?
First I want to say it's a real pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me. And it's an honor to have this opportunity to speak to so many New Yorkers and Americans across the country. And when it comes to the ceasefire, I am thankful, and I have hope that it will actually endure.
Yeah, who do you want to thank? She asked you about thanking Donald Trump.
And that it will be lasting. And I continue to have concerns because I've seen reports still, just this in the last few days, that 5 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli military.
Yeah.
And that's what gives me pause about issuing any kind of praise or celebration at a moment when...
Yeah, well, the Palestinians, some of the Hamas people are killing Israeli sympathizers, by the way. And they haven't returned the bodies of the hostages that they murdered, you see. So I hope that FAFO, bleep around and find out, Hamas. Ram Brazlavski, freed this week after 2 years in captivity under Palestinians' Islamic Jihad, systematically tortured, kept in shackles, repeatedly pressed to renounce his Jewish faith and convert to Islam. In exchange for food, his mother told Hebrew Media Wednesday. They tried to make him convert to Islam, promising him food in return, but he insisted on preserving his Jewish identity. Can you say you would do the same thing? You're starving to death, being tortured. We will feed you. All you got to do is convert. That's the ultimate, man. I mean, wow. She said guards demanded that he convert to Islam if he would read from the Quran or fast during Ramadan, but Ram didn't break. They asked him to convert, tempted him. If you fast during Ramadan, we'll give you food, soap, all kinds of things that for us are banal, but Ram didn't break. He didn't. Asked him to read from the Quran. We'll give you extra rations and hygiene items, even as hunger and fear consumed him. He said no. He said no. The psychological manipulation left deep emotional scars. Now when he returned, he keeps saying, I'm Jewish. His mother said, I didn't understand why he kept saying, I'm Jewish. I'm a strong Jew. Boy. It was so important for him to preserve his Jewish identity. In the early weeks of captivity, she said, Ram was confined in a makeshift cell just 3.3 by 3.3 feet, shackled on all 4 limbs. He received only a half piece of dry flatbread and a small portion of rice each evening, and he was forced to relieve himself in a bottle collected nightly by his captors. In one instant, driven by extreme hunger, he broke free and tried to cook pasta. When the gas stove failed, he set fire to clothes and a book to boil water in a small plastic-covered bathroom. Smoke seeped out, and a crowd from neighboring apartments gathered, pounding on the window windows and doors. He feared lynching. Ram thought about the 2000 Ramallah lynching when a Palestinian mom murdered 2 Israeli reservists, held up blood-soaked hands and from a window and told him, "I'm not ending like that." He hid under a blanket and roughly 40 people broke the windows and stormed the room. They saw the handcuffs and understood he was a prisoner there. As the mob closed in, Ram whispered, "Shema Yisrael," the ancient Jewish declaration of faith. I didn't expect this to hit me like this. Recited in moments of mortal danger, his captor returned with keys, dispensed the crowd, and moved him to a slightly better place. This spring, they abused him more, several times a day with a whip and with things I will not even mention. The torture only intensified in the last months between 2 propaganda videos Palestinian and Israeli Jihad released, flaunting Ram's worsening conditions as part of their psychological warfare. The torture only intensified in the months between 2 propaganda videos flaunting Ram's worsening condition. Throughout it all, Ram said, "Mom, I knew it would pass. I said to myself, it was only a period. It will pass. It will end. It will end." Captors flooded him with disinformation to crush his hope, claiming Iran had bombed Israel, that the country was nearly destroyed and thousands of soldiers killed, and showing selective protest footage to convince the parents he'd given up, even insisting his photo was not at Hostage Square. They told him no one was talking about him, that we were broken and had no strength to protest. He was taken underground until 2 days before his release. She said, but at times he was forced to live alongside bodies of slain hostages, remains among roughly 20 bodies still in Palestinian territory. In the recent days, final days, guards force-fed him, leaving with blood sugar swings he still suffers. Ram has rejected material gifts and attention. He tells me, "I don't need anything. I don't want a phone, TV, or computer. I just want the sky, the sun, and the air." Former hostage Tal Shohan described how Hamas weaponized starvation and beatings as part of their strategy to crush captives held in sealed tunnels 20 to 30 meters below the ground, underground, rationing them to less than 300 calories a day as scurvy set in. Like them, Ram endured deliberate starvation and torture as part of the calculated campaign of terror. And like them, he clung to his faith, his identity, and his will to survive. I have no pity for Hamas. Screw them. Peace deal. Please, please, please bleep around and find out, Hamas. Please give the Israelis and America the green light to just get rid of you. For good. For good. For good. His story of faith was a remarkable, remarkable story. Somebody just said, "Proud to be a Jew," says Rob. It sounds like you're talking about Nazi Germany. Well, how about also those American hostages who were held in Vietnam? How about that? Yeah, it's remarkable. What an amazing story. I'm glad I could share it with you. Let's take a break and come back. The man, the legend, Chris Salcedo joins us next. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, it's Carson. When I was a kid and I would ride in a car, I would get so car sick and so nauseous, my parents would have to carry me into the house. Recently, I went on a sailboat in Mexico and I got so motion sick, I was sick all day. Then I found Relief Band. If you get nauseous, you absolutely must get Relief Band. Relief Band is the original anti-nausea wristband that quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associated with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and much more. Relief Band is legitimately a band you wear on your wrist to give you relief from nausea, and you can change the intensity to make it stronger or weaker. It's 100% drug-free, non-drowsy, works quickly before or after symptoms start, and has 0 side effects. Relief Band has sold over 1 million devices and is backed by thousands of 4-star and above reviews, making it a trusted choice for fast-acting, natural nausea relief. Right now, we've got an exclusive offer just for Rob Carson Show listeners. If you go to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson, you'll receive 20% off plus free shipping. So head to reliefband.com, use promo code Carson for 20% off plus free shipping. we have a special guest. And I want to do this right. I want to do this right here. So I'm going to set this up like a movie trailer because it is worth it. Here, I'll give it some music here. Hold on a second. Let's get some music. Some music here. Okay, some music. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. Let me get my announcer voice on here. Hold on. For decades, leftists in the media and the Democrat Party have tried to sell a simple equation. To be Latino is to be liberal. They've claimed that any resistance to their radical anti-American agenda, whether it's open borders, defending the police, or socialist economic policies, is racist. But that narrative was never true, and millions of Latinos are proving it wrong every day. The rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino tells the story mainstream media refuses to cover. How a growing number of Hispanic Americans are stepping up for faith, freedom, family, and the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the one and only Chris Salcedo. Did I do you justice there, brother?
That was epic. Absolutely epic.
Oh, brother. You got a book. You got a book. I love it.
Yep. Number 2. This is the second book. I'm not even sure I'm going to write a third.
Yeah.
The first one was an act of fiction. This one is kind of the embodiment, my friend, of basically the Chris Salcedo show, getting out of news and getting into opinion. So the last 15 years, I've been putting all this stuff together and finally put it down on paper.
Well, I know that a lot of people who've been a part of this movement, and I've been a part of it for 10 years, although 3 of it I spent selling cars, for God's sake. But it has inspired so many to move, to acknowledge the history that we have witnessed and the history that we are witnessing now, and none of this, I believe, is by accident, Chris. None of this, you arriving where you are right now, was by accident. Certainly by effort. Don't get me wrong. But certainly it's a serendipitous time. Let me talk about your journey here, bud, because you mentioned also that most of the time you're expected to be a Democrat if you're Latino. Things really changed. Tell me about where you started and where you are now.
Well, I have always been, whether I knew it or not. I was raised with conservative values, although it wasn't something we sat down at the kitchen table and said, hey, we're conservatives. It was, as President Trump says, it was common sense.
Yeah.
We were patriotic. We loved our country. We loved our freedoms. And we appreciated those who kept those freedoms in place. And as we marveled and watched over the last couple of decades, those rights and constitutional liberties have been under direct attack, not from the usual suspects, the commies and foreign countries, but from within, and in a not so subtle manner, in your face. Leftists, Marxists, socialists. So I've always had. I'll give you a story, real quick story.
Yeah.
It's little Chris Salcedo comes home.
Yeah.
He's in the 5th grade. And Daddy, I said, Daddy, we covered Cesar Chavez in school today. And I had this, this colored paper, that we used to color our crayons. We would color in, they would give us something, and it had the words about who they say Chavez was. They didn't tell us the truth, of course. And I remember this is when I knew that we were different.
Yeah.
Or that we were that there was something that I wasn't being told that was right. Because my dad looks at the paper, looks down at me and says, "Effing communist," and then walks away.
Wow.
The first time I had ever heard my father cuss.
Wow.
In my presence. That's how strongly and you know what? And by the way, Cesar Chavez was.
Yes.
And you know what? From that point on, buddy, I knew that hey, maybe the Salcedo family is not what we're not fitting into this narrative that this box that so many want to put us into.
Well, I started to notice, a few years ago when we were talking about the stream of people coming across the southern border, And the Democrats just immediately said, "Oh, they're going to vote Democrat." And I said, "I'm not so sure about that, because a good share of them are Catholic, a good share of them want their families to be intact, and all of them, I would say 99% of them, don't think that a girl can become a boy and vice versa." And then I'll also say they sure as hell don't want to be called Latinx and erase the masculinity and femininity that is based in the freaking language. And I said, that is ridiculous. And then we started to point this out, and that's when the Democrat Party really stepped in it.
Well, I got a couple of sections basically on Latinx alone. You're right. The language, the Spanish language has, for those of you who don't speak it or have never been, didn't take, first or second year Spanish in high school, the Spanish words often have masculine and feminine genders assigned to them. And then because it didn't fit in with their leftist Marxist agenda, their trans agenda, folks, which we can talk a whole hour about that. Because it didn't fit with that, they said, "Hey, you Latinos are going to have to give up the beauty of your language."
Wow.
And we said, "Huh?
How
No,
dare you.
Don't think so.
How
no.
dare you.
Latinx, no matter whether you're Democrat, Republican, leftist, conservative, it polls, that term Latinx polls at -90.
Oh, brother.
90% hate it.
What, I mean, it is an insult. It is an insult. By the way, we're talking to Chris Salcedo. He's got a book, The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino. I do it that way because that's what we do with newscasters. Out of nowhere, they just suddenly say, use the language, use the accent. I want to do the same thing, even though I'm not Latino. But I studied. I wasted time on French. I 4 years high school French is the only language that they had in my school, and then I took 4 years in college. And wow, what a waste! Never been to France. Have been to Mexico a freaking dozen times. But you do. You have in French you have le or la, depending on the gender of the thing. They always said that how you can tell if in the French language and Spanish language if a table is masculine or feminine. You know how that is? Look between its legs. You just do that. But let me ask you about your family, bro. Let me ask you about your father. Tell me about your father.
Worked 30 years, Pat Bell. Got in when he was young, worked at his entire time, retired. They gave him a watch, and that was his experience, My mom, when my parents sadly divorced, my mom worked a couple of jobs, worked as a real estate agent, worked as executive assistant, worked as what else did she? Oh yeah, she tended bar.
Wow.
Which is anything they could do to make ends meet. Living in apartments, It wasn't until later in life that I got my first house, got my first dog. I wasn't a teenager until I got my first dog because we couldn't afford it.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And it was, as they say, humble beginnings.
Yes.
And it was, but I never knew it. I never knew.
I know.
That wasn't. I mean, it was. I was coming up in the era of Reagan. I was a Reagan baby. Ronald Reagan to me was Optimus Prime from the Transformers. He was our leader. He was the one who always knew what to do. He was strong. He believed in principle, and that's who Ronald Reagan was. I mean, seriously, man. In my preteen teen mind, Ronald Reagan is Optimus Prime. I mean, still to this day.
Yeah.
A humble and good-hearted leader who wanted to defeat evil. And guess what? Both of them did in real life and in fake life.
Now, Chris, we got to take a break here. I want to continue on the other side. I want to know more about you and certainly the MAGA movement and your life, the rise of the liberty-loving Latino, the new American Revolution. Chris Salcedo on the Newsmax hotline. We'll return right after this. Let's take a break and come back. You're listening to The Rob Carson Show.
WCVM.
It is Rob Carson Show. Chris Salcedo, the Liberty-Loving Latino, has a new book. It's called The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino, A New American Revolution, and he's on the Newsmax hotline. I've always had an enormous kinship with particularly the Hispanic community because they're very similar. I grew up in a Catholic household. I didn't know I was poor either, Chris. We got one pair of shoes a year.
Yeah. If we were lucky.
Yeah, no kidding. I remember duct taping my shoes and using white shoe polish to make my Adidas look.
New? Oh my gosh, I did the same thing.
Oh yeah, man. But I remember one time, Chris, I was I had guys working on the house next door. And there was a group of Hispanic men working on it. This one guy's very ambitious, and I asked him to come over and give me an estimate on the paint. And I was talking to him very quickly. And the Democrats are make you want to feel like if you tell somebody, hey man, I just want to say your English is great and it means a lot to be able to communicate like that. They say it's racist. And I told that guy that, and he goes, Rob, come here and let me show you something. And he walked me to the front door, and he pointed out this beautiful Ford F-150. It's about a $90,000 truck at the time. And he said, you see that truck? I said, yeah. He goes, the guys who drive the truck speak Spanish. The guy who owns the truck speaks English. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I think that certainly the Hispanic culture, family, faith, they're very important, and the Democrat Party completely abandoned them, didn't they?
Well, it wasn't. I don't think their heart was ever in it to begin with. To be honest with you, Rob, I can't remember a time when Democrats were for religious freedom. I can't remember a time when Democrats were not attacking the Catholic faith, not attacking Christians in general.
Yes.
And it's gotten exponentially worse in the era of Obama. I believe the open downhill slide for the Democrat Socialist Party was this infection into our government of anti-American kooks, freaks, and nuts.
Yep.
And it all started with Barack Obama.
Well, you look at some of the names that generally whenever they have these big Hispanic whatever festivals, they celebrate Quavera. They celebrate, as you mentioned, Ever Chavez, Castro, even to some degree, who's I guess Cuban. But I've always thought that was ridiculous because that's the antithesis of the family. That's the antithesis of faith, right?
It is. And if you look everywhere around the globe where the Democrats have their ideology has taken over, Venezuela, Cuba, most of these South American, Central American countries, with some rare and notable exceptions, and there are some that are pushing back. The Communist China's infiltration, they're infiltrating in these left-wing countries, and guess what? People are fleeing them like crazy because nobody wants to be a part of a leftist country because it's misery, it's squalor, it is elitism. Only the elites survive and have it good, and that's not America.
No,
and
it's
many
not.
Latinos recognize
but it's coming. Things are coming for the Latino community. Venezuela's about to fall. Mexico's getting a colonoscopy from Donald Trump. Things are going to change, brother. Things are going to change. Yeah. Your book is called The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino. Chris Salcedo. What do you think people will find extraordinary about this book in your life and just even the last few years going through the tribulations and the abuses and usurpations we all experience to ultimately come to this point in history where good appears to be putting evil back on its heels?
Well, yeah, there is a resurgence. There is a defense of this last best hope for mankind on planet Earth, right?
Yes.
The United States of America.
Yes.
And what I hope the people will read in this book is, A, the premise for which it was written, which was to destroy a left-wing narrative that, hey, if you're a Latino, you must be a liberal. Yeah. No, that's not true. Hey, if you're a Latino, you must support illegal immigration, right? No, that's not true. That's one thing. But I hope they recognize, because I detail why Latinos left in droves from the left wing, and then I go through the steps of mapping the way forward, all in the context of my interview with President Trump in October before the election.
Yeah.
So it is very much a retrospective and roadmap all at once. And I am confident the left won't read it, and if the right does, they're going to know the way to success. And, hey, this is what the Democrats did to screw it all up.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Yeah. I just ordered it, by the way. Just ordered your book. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You know what?
What?
Tell the folks how easy it was. You go to Amazon.
Yep.
You type in The Rise of the Liberty-Loving Latino.
Did it?
And poof, there it is.
There it is.
Or you type in Chris Salcedo, and there it is. And you can save a couple of bucks if you order it now.
I did.
And make my publisher very, very happy.
I did. I ordered it now, and I do mean it. I've gotten to know you, brother. I really, you and I, we hit it off, right? I mean, immediately.
Yeah.
We just immediately started giving each other crap like big brother, little brother kind of stuff.
And I, of course, was the big brother, right? That was me.
Yeah, you were the big brother.
The underwear over the head and the swirling in the toilet. That was me to you.
I got to tell you, are you going to do an audio book? Because there's nothing I like better than going to bed there, got my jammies on, get to hear Chris Salcedo, just fade off into sleep.
Oh, damn it. Oh, damn it.
No, brother, I do appreciate you. And by the way, how's the new time slot working for you on Newsmax?
It is chugging right along.
I love it.
Before Carl Higby, 5 o'clock Eastern on Newsmax. As a matter of fact, the book will be the subject matter today because there's one aspect that you and I didn't talk about that I'm saving for the show.
Okay.
And actually, I'll give your audience a sneak peek. Okay. This was the book nobody wanted until now.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to hear a perspective that you have with regard to the Latino community and the revolution that's happened, that it wasn't a left-leaning revolution. Chris Salcedo, God bless you, brother. I'll watch you tonight at 5 o'clock, baby.
Rob Carson, brother from another mother. Talk to you soon.
I talk to you. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Hey, guys, it's Carson. You know what's the scariest part of October? It's not haunted houses or horror movies. It's being vulnerable to... This is a really cool guy. We had an immediate connection, just became friends. He's a hell of a guy. And I do mean this. I hope you'll order the book. I'm going to read the book. I don't read... I don't have a lot of time to read a lot of books. I read 300 pages. This is what I read today. Hold on one second. This isn't even all of it. Hold on. This is what I read today. So, my free time is scarce, and but I ordered his book, and I'm going to read his book because I think his life is fascinating. I think he's a really cool human being. Really, really cool human being. Bruce Radford's watching. Tharus Shebedebedlemedeng is watching. What is that? The Rush Hashadahan. The Rush Schlebedy. Thanks for watching. Mickey Hastings, good to see you. America Marcy back watching today over on the Rumbly Roo. As usual, Dookie Bear, Round a Pony. Proud to be a Jew. I'm an honorary Jew. Thank you very much. I like to consider myself to be an honorary Jew because I would fight for Israel. I do it every day. Try to. We're about ready to wrap things up here, kids. About ready to wrap things up. I'm going to play a parody, I think, before we go. How does that sound? I think it sounds pretty good. Hold on. Here we go. I got one other thing I want to do here. Hold on one second. Here we go. All right. Got one more thing I'm going to do, and then we're going to say goodbye for today. Come back tomorrow for Friday. Here we go.
We're going to have about 250 here.
250. Oh, come on, Led Zeppelin. I need you today, baby. Although Greta Van Fleet, for those of you who wish that Led Zeppelin would have been able to do another album, Greta Van Fleet. Listen to their new single. It's Flower Power. You're gonna. Oh my God! You're gonna go. There's no way. This is the reincarnation of Zeppelin. I'm talking about John Bonham. I'm talking about Jimmy Page. I'm talking about John Paul Jones. I'm talking about all of it. Flower Power. Greta Van Fleet. Your head will explode. It's just, you're gonna go, what? Buy gold, get free silver. I'm holding a silver coin that I got from Birch Gold here, okay? If you get $5,000 invested in gold from Birch Gold, you're going to get a free silver round commemorating the Gadsden and American flags. This coin was worth $49, $48 last week. It's worth $54 today. That's how much silver is going through the ceiling. Gold's even more. Get gold before you can't afford it. And then watch your investment grow. It's amazing. And Birch Gold is a great company. They make it painless. A+ rating for the Better Business Bureau. Tens of thousands of happy customers. Some of you guys are already their customers. I encourage you to diversify your savings into gold. I've never felt this way about gold before. It's remarkable. And now this coin too. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So what you got to do is just text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898 for Birch Gold, if you would. They'll send you an information kit. They're not going to, try to immediately sell you. They'll just text you back. Then you'll eventually get a phone call. You can talk to them, schedule it, and then they'll just tell you your options, what you can do, what you need to do, and all of that. And then right now, you get this silver round, and it's cool. I carry this thing in my pocket in this little velvet pouch. Thank you very much that I carry with me. All right, that's going to do it for the show. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a good time today. Please check out the podcast if you would. Go to all your usual podcast platforms. Look up Rob Carson Show. If you would, follow me on all of my social media at Rob Carson Show, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. A Substack, Rob Carson Show. Writing a lot for Substack. I think you'll enjoy that too. In the meantime, thank you guys for listening and watching. God bless you. God bless America's founded Donald Trump as he saves this country and the world. And until tomorrow, which by the grace of God is finally Friday, do not catch the stupid. I'll see you then.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.